What's going on, family? It's your boy back at it again. What's happening? What's good, folks? It is time to get into it, folks. We have Brandon Beane talking today, giving us the scoop on what's happening, what's going on around the league, what's going on with these Bills. The draft is not too far away. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, we're going to get into the draft talk, but I am not confident in where I think the Bills are going. I mean, the last few years, it was very evident. It was obvious where Brandon Beane needed to go. When we needed a corner, it was cool. We needed to get a corner. We were looking at the top corners. When we needed a receiver, we needed to look into the receiver room. We were dead set on certain receivers. We ended up going with, obviously, the second-year receiver going to his third year in Keon Coleman. Some folks are out on Keon. Some folks still have hope for Keon. There's a whole lot going on with these Bills. There's a whole lot going on with what these Bills are going to look like this year. I mean, we're tired. Bills fans, if you really think about it, we're tired, man, because we've had success. We've seen success with these Bills, but year in and year out, we have not been able to get over that proverbial hump. Right? That's what the conversation's always been. Getting over that hump. How? Where? Where is this talent coming from? How are we going to get over it? Is this the coaching issue? Well, they took care of that. Brandon Beane, Pagula, they may have talked, they may have conversed. Some say, or some are thinking, that was strictly a Pagula move. Whether you want to believe it or not, the point is, Pagula made a decision. McDermott, gone. We need to start with a new era. He looked at it and said, hey, I looked at the guys in the locker room. I didn't like it, and I could not bring them to another season of having this very conversation. And it gets tired. It gets tiresome. And we can't act like it doesn't. So going into this year, there's a lot of optimism because you're like, okay, we understand what's at stake here. And we have high hopes every year because Josh Allen is the quarterback. He's still in that window, that prime window. We have an opportunity. And then there's the flip side, pressure. And right now, I'm theming this as pressures on Brandon Beane, but we've always known that. But I think it's more evident that he knows the pressure's on. That's the difference, right? You can have some optimism this whole way through going, okay, we got this. We're doing great. We're going to be all right. We've built this roster to win. But he knows, your quarterback's getting older. He's going to be hitting 30, right? He's got children now, right? His view is changing. Has his hunger changed? Not at all. But Brandon Beane's got to look at, I got to construct this roster properly. I've got to let my guys develop, but I've also got to bring pieces on that's going to help this team grow and get this team to another level. And I believe that's what he's felt that he's done. Well, that's to be determined because we're still looking at this roster wondering, do we have what it takes? Some folks are looking at this receiver room, this receiving core saying, is that enough? Okay, we brought in DJ Moore, but if DJ Moore goes down, we're back to square one again. How many teams are back to square one if one of their big time receivers goes down? You go to look at Philly. If Smith goes down, you got AJ Brown. AJ Brown has been he's been in conversations of him being moved. So there's a lot going on with Philly. Obviously, they brought in Wicks out of Green Bay, so they're building. And the Bills, if you look at their roster, you look at their receiver rooms more specifically, it's not a bad receiving core. And with the way that Brandon Beane sees DJ Moore as a big fixture on this team, you can kind of see the optimism that Brandon Beane has for this team. So let's get right into it because the biggest thing that I want to talk about that I took away from Brandon Beane's conversation with the Athletics, Joe Buscaglia. If you haven't read the article, it's a pretty dope article. And our guy, Brandon Beane, got candid. But that's one thing that I've always appreciated about Brandon Beane is he's never really going to fluff you. He's always been one that kept it a bean, pun intended, kept it a buck. And he didn't really, he doesn't fluff you. He gives you the goods. And at this point, there's been a few things that stood up. But one thing that stood out a lot to me was a couple things. The receiving room and the belief that they have in Keon Coleman. And I think a majority of fans do want to see the best out of Keon. And I believe going into year 3, a lot of players in the NFL, that's when they thrive. And in this article, they lamented on speaking on Spencer Brown. And Spencer Brown had a challenging rookie year, but he's a rookie. Second year plagued by some back injuries. Third year was going to be a big year. And guess what? If you're looking to present day, my man's got a second contract, thriving as one of the better right tackles in the game, 6'8", 310. Those things get built in the lab. That's a big boy, and we have that securing the front side of Josh Allen. And obviously you got the anchor in Deion Dawkins on the left side. So when you're looking at what Brandon Beane wants to do with his team, the pressure is on. The pressure is absolutely on Brandon Beane, but there's a message that I believe he needs to send. And I think that message is being sent. And we're going to get into that in just a little bit, but there were some nuggets that my man dropped today. And the first one that I want to talk about is Greg Rousseau, known as the lengthy 6'7" defensive end, can at times play inside because he's that versatile. Well, there's a position change happening in Buffalo. Greg Rousseau is now going to be featured as an outside linebacker. Greg Rousseau. Now, it's not what you think. He ain't going to be dropping in coverage. He's not going to be dropping to the flat often and dropping to the cloud. He's not going to be your coverage type linebacker. We've got other guys for that reason. However, relative to his athletic score, relative to what he does well, I mean, he's one of our best run defenders. So why not have him on the edge alongside Bradley Chubb on the other side? At least defending the run, which has been an issue for the Bills, will be intact. You have a defensive end in Bradley Chubb that is known to be a great pass rusher, can't get after the quarterback. Greg Rousseau has always been middle of the pack, right? He's in that 6 to 10 range sack area. He's not going to give you double digits, high amount of volume sacks. So this is where they're trying to find that sweet spot. So the question is, does this work for what the Bills are trying to build, what the Bills are trying to do? If you're looking at what the Bills roster looks like, putting Greg Rousseau on the outside as a linebacker, now it kind of muddies who's going to be doing what on the defensive line. You already know you got TJ Sanders. You already know you got Ed Oliver. You already know you got Big Deion Walker. What do you do with Michael Hoyt? Does Michael Hoyt become your defensive end rusher? He was one of our better pass rushers in only the 2 games that he played with us. So what does that do for this defense? So Greg Rousseau moving to outside linebacker. Are you here for it? Or are you sitting here going, man, I don't give a rat's what these Bills do as long as they put a product on the field that is worth watching. They put a product on the field that I can be proud of to say, you know what? I'm not really in on these changes of these positions, but if it's working, keep it up. Jim Leonard's defense is going to be a 3-4 defense. There's a lot of moving pieces on that defense, right? So maybe this might be the best move for not only Greg Rousseau, but for what the Bills want to do going into the draft. So Greg Rousseau, defensive end, are we liking that? You guys let me know, chime into the chat, and let's keep it rolling. I got my girl Laura L. Boogie says, new assignment for Groot. I'm kind of excited about it. Leonard changing the game. Let's effing go. Listen, Leonard's got a tall task ahead of him because if you look at this roster, defensive backfield wise, I think we're okay. I think we're solid. But then you got to deal with the front 7, right? And do we have enough in the front 7 that could be formidable enough to stop the bigger juggernaut to offenses in this league? So this is where his experience is going to come in, his ability to I guess, mold and move players around and put them where they're supposed to be. And the big piece being moved right now is Greg Rousseau. So Greg Rousseau moving to the outside now opens up a vacancy. So when you're looking at this defensive front and you're looking at all the pieces that the Bills have, what will the lineup look like going forward when looking at this Bills team? So Greg, Bradley Chubb on one side. So that to me, it stands out. It stands out like a sore thumb, but not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. So what I wanted to show you guys was what this team could look like as a roster. So I'm going to show you guys let me give you guys a depiction of what this Bills team could look like. So I'm going to share my screen here and what the roster could look like. So let me give you a quick look here. Let me share my screen so you guys can have a peek. And you guys let me know what your thoughts are, right? So when you're looking at what this defense is going to look like and what it could look like roster-wise, take a look. So Rousseau moving to outside linebacker. So now when you're looking at your defensive tackles and your defensive ends, you're looking at Ed Oliver. You're looking at Deion Walker, you got TJ Sanders. Now we're starting to kind of see, okay, so how do we figure this thing out? Then you got to figure out what you're going to do with Landon Jackson. Landon Jackson, Brandon Beane made it very clear. This guy is going to be one of those defensive ends that's going to be there. We have no idea what we're going to get out of Landon Jackson. This unfortunate end to the season, blew out his knee. So what are we going to get? Will he be ready to roll? But this is what it's looking like. This is the roster. So is this good enough? Does it give you an opening for what we're going to do in the draft? I have gone back and forth. Do we go with a safety? Do we go with a defensive tackle? Do we go with a defensive end, right? Do we go linebacker? I honestly have been all over the place on trying to make a case for each and every one of these things. And you can make a case for every one. A defensive end, you got Cassius Howell that could be right there for the picking. Defensive end, shorter arms, I understand that part, but you need someone that's got a bona fide ability to get out to the quarterback, something we've lacked. It just felt like we lacked it. We never really had that punch last year. So when it comes to what Brandon wants to do with this roster, when it comes to what Jim Leonhard wants to do with his defensive pieces, this is a huge pickup, and this is a big change that's going to be happening for the Bills this coming offseason. So it allows us to move these pieces around. So Greg Rousseau, outside linebacker, it's something I got to get used to. I understand he's not going to be dropping into coverage often, so he still will be a very big piece for this defense. But that's one move I did not see coming. But here we are. We got him on the end. So how is this going to look? This is what I'm going to look forward to. And what Brandon Beane clearly has a vision. So does our guy, Jim Leonhard. So let's see how that shakes out. So does that work? You guys let me know in the chat. Let's keep it rolling. So Greg Rousseau outside. So what are the moves or what are the conversations that are happening with Brandon Beane? Well, our guy, Brandon, decided to bring up Keon Coleman. Now, that one has been a topic of conversation all offseason. I'm not going to sit here and stay too long on chatting on this receiver room, but it's important to bring that up. Why? Because conversation has been, man, we should go receiver. KC Concepcion is out there. Denzel Boston is out there. Why aren't we talking about bringing these guys to the roster? How potent would it be? Do we build around Josh? Is this what it is? Guys, Josh is elite. Josh is elite. And with the pieces we had last year, we were still able to move. And that's him playing on a broken foot. And this guy was still able to do what he needed to do to get this team, obviously, into the playoffs and in contention. We just, every year, just can't get over that edge. Well, coach is gone. New direction, new alignment has happened with, obviously, Joe Brady and Brandon Beane. But Brandon Beane decided to bang the table yet again. Just a few weeks ago, it was Joe Brady saying, I believe in Keon. Now, the GM has come out and made it very clear. We believe in this brother. Now, here's the deal. Recapping what is taking place with this Keon saga, right? The whole end of year press conference, which was interesting to say the least. You had owner Terry Bergula jumping on the mic and saying, hey, man, he's just trying to be a nice guy. We weren't really in on Keon. That was a previous head coach, blaming it on Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott's crew was the ones that were in on Keon Coleman. I mean, I'm not going to let them just blame my man McDermott and don't put Josh Allen in the mix, because Josh Allen was kind of saying, hey, man, I'm in on this, guys. I want Keon. So what is now transpired is they are doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on the love they have for Keon Coleman. Are you in on it? So Brandon Beane is saying, hey, man, it's a matter of maturity. I don't know about y'all, man. I keep hearing about maturity this and maturity that, bro. When y'all kept on benching this brother, how much do you want him to come in and give you 100%? How much do you want him to be motivated when he's like, I should be on this field, but y'all keep playing with me and playing with my face? Like, what you want me to do? So, like, of course, my heart's not going to be on it. I'm not saying that Keon's heart wasn't in on it, but how hard is it to try to, when you talk about a coach that doesn't believe in you potentially, or you talk about a GM he doesn't know who believes in him and who doesn't. All he knows is I'm getting benched because I missed a couple practices. You know what I mean? Or I missed, I was late for practice and so on and so forth. So like all of a sudden you go from getting poo-pooed on from the fan base, you get poo-pooed on from your owner, the coach that apparently believed in you is now fired. So where do I land here? So head coach Joe Brady was like, you land right where you need to be. I believe in you. Then doubling down, our guy, Brandon Beane, was like, no, I believe in this brother. It's just a matter of cleaning up his maturity. So whatever that means for them, where, you know what I mean, showing up on time and being the guy you're supposed to be, here's the deal. They truly believe in him. And they're saying to the point where Brandon Beane's saying, this guy's good enough to be a receiver type 1 player. He may not be there just yet. He's going into his 3rd year. Enter in the likes of DJ Moore. So what they're trying to do, and I think we saw this coming along when they brought DJ Moore onto the squad, was, listen, clearly you aren't the guy. I'm not falling for all this. You know what I mean? We love Keon so much. Bro, it just makes sense to keep him. It just makes sense. He's cheap. He's still on his rookie deal. The market is the market. There isn't really anything that's out there that really got you like to bring somebody in, because if that were the case, you would have done it already by now. So I'm not believing all the hype. I like Brandon Beane. I'm with you, but I ain't believing all the hype, bro, because he still has to show up. He still has to do what he's supposed to do. He had some moments where he just looked like he didn't give a rat's ass when he was on the field, right? Now, could you tie that to lack of motivation? Could you tie that to a whole lot of things? Getting benched 4 straight games, being benched and letting, you know what I'm saying, the likes of lower tier receivers getting on the field. That's going to affect a player. So straight goods, if you're going into this season, you truly believe in him, and I really hope this is true. I really hope that they actually do believe in him and give him the energy that he needs. This receiving crew could be exactly what coach needs. Exactly what Josh needs. You got your slot receiver. You're set. You have a veteran receiver in Josh Palmer. We're paying him a lot of money. I get that part, but you got a veteran receiver in Josh Palmer. Now you bring in a receiver 1 in DJ Moore, and now you can allow Keon to do what he's supposed to do right when we drafted him. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen it. We know he can play. It's just that we got to figure out where we want to use him. So that's where I'm going to be paying attention to what Brandon Beane and Joe Brady and all them cats want to do. Now, there's new management, there's new coaching, there's new position coaches, so maybe that changes. Carmichael might see something in Keon and say, hey, I think I found a way that we could use him and make him potent for this offense. Joe Brady and his new coaching staff, they might come in and say, hey, man, we're not doing it the same way that coach wanted us to do it last year. I'm going to do it my way. So if his way is the way, and that's going to unlock Keon Coleman, I think we're all here for it. But I need to see it. I need to see it because somebody's got to bring the most out of him. Now, what I've loved seeing is hearing Stevie Johnson say, man, I reached out. I talked to him. We talked all offseason, and we've been figuring things out, and he truly believes in him. So could this be the breakout year for Keon Coleman? I know we've been talking about it. We thought last year was going to be it because his rookie season kind of was derailed by the injuries, but we saw great things. Second year, I mean, you saw what happened, man. Started off great with the first week, plummeted after that, and never really regained that confidence. Being benched hurts. So that's exactly what happened. So going into this offseason, I'm looking forward to seeing what Joe Brady has in store for him. How are you going to use Keon Coleman? What's going to take place when it comes to that? So Keon, addition of DJ Moore, maybe that allows him to develop at a slower pace. You don't have to be counted on as the guy, right? Going into year 2, there was a big ask, right? He was going to be the guy that we lean on, and we leaned on him heavily in game 1 against the Ravens and helped us win that game, right? So these are the things that stand out in my mind when I'm looking at this team, this overall squad, looking at this receiving room. Bro, like, it's not a bad looking room when you look at it by name. Keon Coleman, DJ Moore, Khalil Shakir, and I'm talking about pass catchers as well. Dalton Kincaid, right? James Cook in the backfield. Shavers, we liked what Shavers was able to bring up. So I kind of like that, man. So now, are there some pieces that are still out in free agency where maybe we can bring in some competition? I mean, Brandon Cooks is still out there. I know there was conversation of Brandon B was talking to their representatives. Could we bring back Brandon Cooks? And then we're ready to roll. That small window of Brandon Cooks on this roster gave us a spark. So you bring that brother back, with the development of Keon Coleman, we got some veteran guys on the squad. We got some young guys on the squad. Draft a receiver in the later rounds. Bro, we'll be all right. So this is why I'm glad that Brandon Beane is showing some love for Keon. And sometimes a vote of confidence is all a brother needs. A vote of confidence is all a brother needs. So I like where that is going. It's a big one for me. So, and hopefully the pressure that is not going to be put on Keon will allow him to really thrive. I'd like to see a bit more connection between Josh and Keon, because that never really took off, right? It's like it kind of hurt when lack of time on the field. Josh is like, I can't depend on you, bro. I got to go elsewhere. So hopefully we can see a lot more from that duo, which unlocks this offense even more. We're a top 10 offense by far. Some might even argue we're a top 5 offense. So listen, I'm looking forward to seeing what this team is going to look like. Before I get into my next topic, let me jump into this super chat from my man Jam. What's up, Jam? Jam comes in and says, "Hey man, the amount of Bills media that want to trade Keon for just the sake of getting rid of it baffles him. Baffles you. It baffles me because I mean, brother's going into a third year, man. You don't want to give up on a player too soon. There have been plenty of examples of third year blow up, even on this team. Listen, Spencer Brown is a prime example. Second year, you're like, man, I don't know what we have in Spencer Brown. And then, boom, explodes in third year, gets himself a contract, and now one of the better tackles in this game. So you don't want to give up on a player too soon. Player has to be an absolute, let me see if my mic works. Player has to be an absolute bum. An absolute bum in order for you to really give up on a player. You got to be a bum. Like, you are useless to us. But Keon has shown us that he can play. Just look at the statistics alone, right? You're looking at a player in his first year that had, like 600 yards? And that brother, missed 4 games with injuries and tried to come back and couldn't quite get back to the Keon that we know him to be. So sometimes, I mean, our emotions get the best of us as fans. And I'm sure coaches feel that way too, bro. They get frustrated. You're like, I don't want nothing to do with this guy, man. Move on. But sometimes your cooler heads have to prevail. And this is why coaches coach, GMs GM. Hold on. I'm not getting rid of this player just yet. We got to get the most out of him before we do. But financially, it makes sense to keep Keon. So that being said, bro, you guys have heard me say it. I'm not giving up on Keon. I still think he's got some skill set left to him. And this makes sense that you want to bang the table for your boy. You got to. It just makes sense. So Brandon Beane bringing up Keon, I love it. You're showing confidence. This tells me we ain't going to touch receiver in the first round. And we shouldn't. I'm thinking about the talent that's in this receiver room. And then I look at the talent that came out of 2024. You guys remember the receivers that are coming out in 2024? That was a better group of receivers coming out. And when I look at this group, I mean, there's some good names, but then there's a drop-off. There's a hard drop-off. Now, is what you want to do with that pick. We're going to get into the 26 pick and what we do and what type of player that we should grab. I'll get into that in just a little bit. But the big names are going to be taken in the first 15, first 20, right? And the big name for me, obviously Tyson, is the big guy that I like. And then everybody else is kind of mumbled jumbled into one grouping. Concepcion, everybody loves Concepcion. I see a very good receiver. Game breaker, blue chip. I'm not sure if I see a blue chip. So 26th pick, you got to get your blue chip player. I'll get into that in just a little bit. But with finishing off with this Keon conversation, listen, Brandon Beane shows love for Keon. Coach shows love for Keon. Keon going to his third year. It only can equate to a big year for Keon. So I believe in it. Coach, GM, quarterback, you got the 3 guys in your corner that's telling you, bro, we're with you. We're behind you. Let's roll. So all this trade talk and moving on from him and all that good stuff, put that to rest. GM, coach, quarterback is all in on Keon. So Keon, the ball's in your court now, brother. The ball's in your court. Year 3 is a big year for you. What you gonna do with your opportunity? Don't squander it. You're playing with one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the NFL. Bro, put in the work. Make sure that you and quarterback are aligned, right? Eye to eye, knowing exactly what you need to do, and make this offense so damn unstoppable, and ain't nobody want to play us. But it starts with Keon. It starts with him putting the work, and in coaches and Brandon Beane's mouth, coming out of their mouth, you got to be focused. So if we get a focused Keon, bro, this offense could be a deadly, deadly offense, man. So looking forward to seeing what Keon does with the likes of Josh Allen, a prime Josh Allen with a new head coach in Joe Brady. We'll see how that plays out this coming season. So that being said, we got our boy Keon ready to roll. Brandon Beane's believing in him. What now? So Greg Rousseau, new position, going to the outside linebacker. I'm loving what I'm seeing. So what now has to happen? What direction do you see this season going, right? Because I'm looking at the additions that we made this year, and I'm looking at what this offense has the likes of looking at. We didn't have to change a whole lot, right? We brought back the anchor at center in Connor McGovern. We got Cyborg. That's our right guard. Spencer Brown coming through. Deion Dawkins is going to be coming back. We know that he's a potent position. The left guard, that's going to be a battle. So offensively, I feel like I've been here before, and I've said this to you guys. There's not a whole lot to worry about. It's the other side of the football. And I need to talk about this 26th pick. Buddy, I'm torn. I'll be real with you. I'm torn. I don't know what direction to go. I've made a case for every position, and likely we could go. If somebody were to tell me, yo, we're going with the receiver position, if we're going to keep that fastball, why not go for it? But if you bring in another receiver, does that mean you're moving on from Keon? Well, that's out of the way because they just doubled and tripled down that Keon is their guy. Because if you were to draft a player, that would have told me Keon's the guy that's out, right? You still have $11 million that you owe Josh Palmer. So they likely want to see what he brings in year 2. I was highly disappointed in Josh Palmer. You guys already know that. So offensively, I'm not tripping. I'm not worried about it. It's that defense. So when I look up this defense and I bring this back up, okay, let me see if I can zoom this in for y'all because there's something that needs to be talked about here. Let me see if I can kind of give you guys a closer look. Can I get closer? Nah, it's hating on me. It doesn't want to let me get closer. That's okay. Okay. So when I'm looking at this defense here, the back end I'm okay with, right? You got Christian Benford. You got Alford that we brought in as our nickel. Harrison likely will be the starting corner on the other side of Christian Benford. Then you got CJ Gardner-Johnson alongside Cole Bishop. Cole Bishop came out to be a big-time player for us last year. And then this is where things kind of get dicey. You got a 29, 30-year-old Bradley Chubb. We understand the injuries. We understand all that. I still think we still have a good piece in Bradley Chubb, but the reality is this. He's 29. He's 30. We can get out of that deal after this year. So that's not a lock. Okay. Ed Oliver, obviously, you know, he's a cog. He's a big piece in this defense. You brought the 2 defensive tackles in TJ Sanders, which you traded up for in the second round, and Deion Walker. We saw great things from Deion Walker. And then you're looking at the linebacker position. You got Dorian Williams, and you've got Terrell Bernard, and you're backed up by Jenkins, Jimmy Charlo, and Joe Andreessen. Tell me how much excitement you get from when I read that off to you. So doesn't it make sense for the Bills to go out and get themselves? I may say, oh, CJ, that's wrong. All right. Doesn't it make sense for, yeah, the graphics are hating on me, El Boogie. You hear me. Doesn't it make sense for the Bills to go out and get themselves a linebacker? Doesn't it make sense? Right? Now you bring yourself a blue chip player. And this is the biggest thing. If you have a first round draft pick. You need that nasty blue chip player that if you're going to draft one with the first round, he better be an impact player. And he better be someone that presents themselves immediately where you can plug and play this player. At the 26th pick, who is it? So if you go receiver, is there a good enough receiver that can command to be that guy that can outshine DJ Moore? If ain't nobody going to outshine DJ Moore or outshine the likes of Khalil Shakir, do you grab that player with the 26th pick? I can't justify that. So then I'm thinking, okay, if you're going to grab a defensive lineman, defensive tackle, is there one that will sit there at 26 pick and be good enough for us to grab? That's the thing. This draft is coming out as a draft that doesn't have a whole lot of blue chip players, but there's a lot of depth. You've got a lot of depth. So where does this team go? My man Walter is saying, bro, I don't see off-ball linebacker as a position of grab at 26 when there will be just as good players as important at that point. Listen, I'm with you. This is where I've been trying to battle myself as to where do we go? Then I'm thinking, I guess you're just going to have to be grabbing a player that is the best player available. So defensive tackle makes the most sense, doesn't it? But then you'd be spending capital 2 years straight on defensive tackle. Deion Walker, we stole in the 4th round. That's a first-round draft. That's a first-round talent. TJ Sanders, we traded up for. You got Ed Oliver. That was a first-round draft pick years ago. Bro, some might say, oh, do you really need to go after a defensive tackle in this 3-4 defense? Well, kind of. Because you're going to need to hold up because our problem has always been defending the run. You need someone that's going to clog the middle. Who's clogging the middle between Deion, TJ, Ed Oliver? Not one. Can Deion Walker do it? Absolutely. Is he better as a 3-tech type defensive tackle? Probably, likely. So this is where I'm sitting here going, golly, where in the F do we go with this 26th pick? Or do we not see value in the 26th picks and we trade back? But if you trade back, how far back are you willing to move? Because once you trade out of that 45, like you get to the 45, 50 spot, bro, now it's just straight. You just got to pick the right players and just hope that Brandon Beane continues to shine with picking these later round draft picks. Now, which brings me back to, then you got to pick the best player available. It might be a linebacker. It might be Rodriguez. It might be CJ Allen. Are you confident enough with the likes of Jimmy Charlo, Joe Andreessen? Maybe we bring back Shaq Thompson, which I'm in favor of. You've seen the greatness and how good, you know what I'm saying, that the likes of Dorian Williams can be when he steps in. You can see how good. You can see how Terrell Bernard has had success in his game. There was a point where we were happy that he got his contract. But where do the Bills go with this pick? And right now we are about a week and a half to less than 2 weeks away from drafting. And I, as a Bills fan, I'm sitting here going, golly, bro, I think this might be the first year in a long time where I seriously don't know where these boys are going. I don't know where Brandon Beane is going. Hell, he might not know where the heck he's going. So this one's going to be a tough one. And Rage Dog, I'm with you, bro. My man says, yo, I'd rather have 2 early 4th round picks. 2 early 2 to 4th round picks than the 1st round pick on a guy who won't start. And that's the biggest thing. If you're going to spend a 1st round pick on a player, to me, 1st round pick on a player, that's got to be a cornerstone. That's a player that you build around. You got to build around that player, right? We lost out on Kyer Elam. We thought we had something in Kyer Elam. You know what I mean? He was excited. Yo, give me that playbook. I'm ready for it. Drop it on me. Kyer Elam right now, I don't even know where that brother at. He was on the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's on the Chiefs now. I don't know where he at, but he's somewhere. So we got to figure ourselves what we doing with this 2nd round pick. Okay, draft yourself a receiver with the 26th pick. Let's just say Denzel Boston is available. Let's just say Casey Concepcion is available. He's a punt returner. He's a special teamer. He can run inside. He can run outside. He has the case of the drop C's here and there, but some folks really love this pick at 30, at 26. Think about it. You just drafted DJ Moore in the 2nd. Essentially, that's what you did. So where has there ever been a team in the NFL that drafted a receiver back-to-back? first round and second round. Because that's what it would look like. Could the Bills go ahead and draft a receiver and sit here and go, I drafted a receiver in the first round and I drafted DJ Moore essentially? Bro, that's back-to-back receiver picks on a team that desperately needs defense. So logically, does it make sense to go and draft a receiver in the first round? It doesn't. That's the part I'm trying to wrap my head around. If Brandon Beane goes and drafts a receiver, bro, we went back-to-back at receiver. I don't know. I don't know if I can rock with that. And does this offensive piece make us that much better? I can't do it. I'm out on receiver in the first round. There are some good pieces in this draft, solid pieces. For the first round with a 26 pick, I'm out on receiver. Can't do it. I'll tell you right now, I'd be disappointed if Brandon Beane came out and says, with a 26 pick, the Bills select receiver. I'll be pissed. I'm like, nah, bro, we can't. No, you got DJ Moore and you got this brother? Nah, man, I can't do it. So that's that. Then I'm thinking, okay, defensive end. Who we got at defensive end on the squad? Think about it. I'm looking at Landon Jackson. We don't know what we got in Landon Jackson, to be very transparent. This guy didn't look good last year. Looked stiff as heck. You ever go anywhere? You go to a party, you go to dance, and you got that one dude that just he don't even dance to the beat. He danced to the lyrics, just stiff and dancing to the lyrics, bro. That's Landon Jackson. That's what he gives me. Now, is it unfair as a rookie to kind of be scrutinizing that hard? Maybe. But I didn't see enough to be excited for him coming into year 2. So there's a linebacker / edge. TJ Sanders, Deion Walker, Ed Oliver, Michael Hoyt. And Michael Hoyt is coming off of a torn Achilles. Javon Solomon, I like Javon Solomon. Where do they have him? Do they have him as a backup OLB? Will he be a defensive end? So to me, it seems as though defensive end has to be the pick. You got to go and find yourself that defensive end that is a difference maker and that can impact your team right off the rip, especially in this new chaotic, that's going to create havoc in this defense, in Jim Leonard's defense. Doesn't it make sense for the Bills to go defensive end? That's where I'm leaning towards. Then now the question becomes, which one is the best one for this team? I'm a fan of Cassius Howell. If Cassius Howell was sitting there at 26, don't even think about it. Jump right into it. Now, if you don't like him there and you want to trade and acquire more picks, I'm also with that. But we cannot, and I repeat, we cannot get a pick late in the second round just to acquire something else. We need to get picks that are early in the second round so that we can justify adding depth to this team. So where do you guys stand? Have you guys been as torn as I have been? Because right now I'm battling with logic and I'm battling with the scheme. What works with this scheme? Philosophically, what works for this team? Logically, it makes sense to go with either one of these positions. But the true logic for me is you got to fill the need. And the need right now is at defensive end. You just moved Greg Rousseau to outside linebacker. I know he's going to be on the end, but you need someone that can get after the quarterback, that can create havoc. Do we have that on this roster? Are we constructed for that? That's where I gotta figure that out, man. Here's the deal. My man Rage Dog says, yo, Rico, keep it in a buck. Your takes are your takes. Going with your eyes and your gut, not the crowd. I love it. I mean, I've always been that. You know that. You know I've always been that way, man. Like I can't go with the crowd. I got to go with where I'm at. Everybody's jumping on this receiver. Grab a receiver. For what? I mean, We at one point were kind of questioning what we had at receiver, and we were still putting up 20, 25, 30 points a game. Do we really need that? We brought in a 32-year-old Brandon Cooks that ended up being our best receiver at one point. I mean, shoot. So do we really need a receiver? And we have a new offensive coordinator with a new head coach that may change up how we do things, may start using players where they're supposed to be used. Now, I kind of question it because why the heck weren't you doing it last year? Why are we waiting into this year? Are you trying to, cut yourself off from the old regime? I was doing what coach told me to do. Well, then pressure becomes a lot higher on you because now you're doing it your way. I better see a different product on the field. That's why I'm looking at it. All right, let me get a couple questions in, and I'm going to get back to my point. I'm going to make my last point coming in here. My man Jam says, yo, question, do you think we've seen the best of Joe Brady? No, I think there's more to come with Joe Brady. I was actually really encouraged with Joe Brady and what he brings to the table by all these other coaches talking about how great Joe Brady is. So was McDermott putting a thumb on Joe Brady's greatness? Was he capping my mans? Was he like, yo, that's enough out of you? You talking way too much. I know you're a young protege, but I'm the head coach here. I'm the captain. Who knows if that's how the things went down? But do I think that we've seen the best of Joe Brady? No, I think we got a little bit more. I'm anticipating that we get a lot more out of Joe Brady, and he unlocks a lot of these players. The one thing that I don't talk about enough is Joe Brady was a former receiver. That brother's sitting here at 6'3". You're a big boy. You understand it, bro. Find the right protege for this squad or the right nucleus and make it work, baby. I mean, shoot. I pay attention a lot closer to running backs because when I played the running, that's the position I played. So I pay attention a lot more. I can pinpoint who nice and who not, at least to my best of my ability. You're the head coach now. You better get the most out of Keon, the most out of Khalil, the most out of Josh Palmer, the one that I'm the most disappointed out of. DJ Moore, you have rapport with, so you should be able to jump right back into work with him. Let's roll. So yeah, I think we got a lot coming from Joe Brady because my man Jam is saying, yo, people think that we already have. I don't personally. By the way, you should bring Post Podium onto the pod for some fun debates. Those are my boys, man. I'm gonna see if these guys are ready to rock with us for the draft. That would be dope to have the Post Podium and have a collab and make that shit work, right? Wouldn't that work? Let's roll. All right, I got my man Get Right comes in and says, by the way, salute to my man Get Right, 16 months as a member. Appreciate you, my G. Love that. At the end of the day, I feel we trade back. We need bodies in the defense. In your heart of hearts, Rico, what do you want to do? What do you want to do or what player you want to draft? Who? Trade back? Shout out to number 16 months. I appreciate you, bro. Let me give you that. Let me give you that love. Like I said, man, you kind of heard me go through it. I'm torn. I'm not sure where I want to go. I'm leaning towards, I'm all the way on defensive side of the ball. That's where I'm leaning. I'm out on receiver. I used to be in on receiver. I was like, yo, keep the fastball rolling. You got to go receiver. I'm out on receiver. Because if you logically think about it, first round draft pick goes to receiver. You traded your second round draft pick for receivers. Essentially, you drafted a receiver. So you're going back to back with a receiver? Heck no. I'm not doing that. Ain't no way. So I'm out on receiver. So it's on the defensive side. So really, I'm choosing between defensive tackle, a run clogging menace of a defensive tackle in the middle, or a freaking bat out of hell coming off the edge. Who that could be, Cassius Howell, CJ, I don't know. But then I'm thinking, wait a minute, our linebacking crew is weak as heck. So why not go linebacker with Rodriguez if he's there at 26? Some people say, bro, 26 is way too high to grab Rodriguez. Shoot, if we can get him in the second round by trading back and picking up a big defensive tackle like Big Citrus, shoot, that's a win-win. And now you let these boys compete. You let Dorian Williams compete with Joe Andreessen. You let Joe Andreessen compete with Jimmy Charlo. You get Terrell Bernard coming back. Shaq Thompson returns. Yo, you have true competition by bringing a Jake Rodriguez in there. If it's not him, then CJ Allen. But at least you have a stud in the middle of that defense. And then the depth at defensive tackle is where it's at, because there's a lot of depth at defensive tackle. So go ahead and grab someone like a Big Citrus, and now you're in the business. This is where I'm torn. So that's why I'm excited about draft night. If you guys aren't going to be there, you guys got to be ready to join us and hang out with us, because we're going to be doing big things on draft night. You guys already know what it is. I have some news that I want to drop, but I don't want to drop it yet because it's not confirmed yet. So we're going to wait it out. We're going to wait it out and see how that plays out. But folks, this is where we're at. So I do have a surprise for us for tomorrow that I still have to kind of, you know what I mean? I don't want to break the bag, but I think I might have to kind of show you guys a little something that what we're working on. So you know what? I might as well just show you guys right now. Let me just show you guys right now. You guys hang tight while I go ahead and kind of give you guys a tidbit as to what's going to be going down. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna drop that right now. Let me drop that right now for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that right now. So there's news. Myself and Zbot, we're confirming, but we have an interview set up with a potential player that the Bills will be drafting this year. And if they don't, he's someone that the Bills have talked to and have visited with. Let me put it that way. So we will have a live interview tomorrow with myself and Zbot, with said player that the Bills could potentially be tied to and potentially have him on the squad. I'm wondering if I should drop the T right now to you guys, or do I wait it out? You know what? Let me drop the T right now. Hold on. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm gonna just drop the graphic. So let me just add that graphic to my board here, and we're gonna get that thing cracking. So who do you think the Bills are bringing on? You guys let me know. Who do you think the Bills are going to draft that we are going to be interviewing tomorrow? That's who we're going to be talking to tomorrow. You guys, I'll let you guys guess the chat who it's going to be, and we'll go from there. So let me jump back into this draft conversation real quick, because those are things that stand out to me. Where are you guys at in this draft? First of all, are you offensive side or defensive side? Please tell me your defensive side, because if I didn't make a case for you now, please tell me that I made a case to say, stay away from offense. We don't need running back. We got one of the best running back rooms in the game. We certainly don't need tight end. We are jacked at tight end. Jackson Hawes, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. We got one of the best tight end crews in the game. The receiver room went from being a bottom 15 receiver room to now a top 15 receiver room. So we're not dying at the receiver position. We're certainly not. And we got the best quarterback in the game and one of the best O-lines in the game. What do we need to add to this offense for? And it's sad because last year we spent most of our time adding to the defense. Cornerback, first round, Max Hairston, right? Then we bring in TJ Sanders. We trade up for that brother. And then we go into bringing in Deion Walker. And then we bring in Jordan. Bro, we killed it on defense last year. So I guess we're going right back to the well and going to draft for this defense. Sadly, it has to happen. It has to happen. We got no choice. It's just necessary. So where are you guys at? Talk to me in the chat. Offense, defense. My man says, I can make a case for left guard at 26. Oh, talk to me now. I mean, listen, I would love to hear the case. I don't think we're going to draft a guard. Who are we? The New England Patriots? Are we the New England Patriots that we're going to draft an O-line? I don't know about all that. My man said the chat unanimous defense. Thank you. It's got to be defense, man. And I hope I helped just a little bit. But to me, it has to be it's linebacker, DT, DE. That's where it's at. At one point, I could make a case for safety because we got a 1-year deal in Juno Stone, a 1-year deal in CJ Gardner-Johnson, and we got a developing Jordan Hancock where he's pretty much going to take on the Cam Lewis role from last year. You can play him at corner, you can play him at nickel, or you can play him at safety. So he takes on that role. You got D. Alford that's going to be taking on the primary nickel role and can play some corner. So the corner room is set. The safety room, could you make a case for safety? Of course. But I don't think we're going to go there in the first round. because there's got to be a difference maker that comes in and impacts the team right off the rip. I'm tired of waiting for a player to come in and we got to wait on this guy to develop and we'll see how it turns out. Nah, bro. If you're drafting him in the first round, he better be a guy that contributes to this team right off the rip. Now, something that stands out to me a lot with Brandon Beane. Brandon Beane, talking to Joe Buscaglia, mentioned the likes of the cliche, everyone is not safe. You got to earn your spot. You got to earn your keep. Blah, blah, blah. It's the same trap and crap that they talk every year. You got to earn your keep. You got to this, that, and the third. Okay? Here's the deal. With that being said, I kind of like this new attitude of, bro, we're not playing with you no more. Why? Which brings me back to my thumbnail for this thing. Brandon Beane understands there's pressure on his ass right now. There's pressure because Josh Allen's 29 years of age. You just got rid of the long-tenured head coach in Sean McDermott that we had our best chance, some might say, in 2020, right? Right? The 13-second game happened. There's a whole lot of things I can break your hearts with, right? So now he's starting with a new head coach. They're trying to get themselves aligned, right? There's a whole lot of things going down. So I like that he's like, you know what? Enough's enough. It's now, and it's got to happen now, and it's never. Because Josh Allen, obviously being the age that he's at, okay, so now you're looking at Dion Dawkins is above 30 now, so you got to start thinking about that as well. So now, shoot, I'm going to have to get another left tackle potentially. Okay, James Cook is obviously in his second contract. We probably got another 2 years out of James Cook before the running back starts to lose its value. So things will start to change. By next year, who knows? Jim Leonard might come in and say, hey, somebody wants to hire me as a head coach. I'm out of here. So you need to get it done, bro. You got a window right now, the 2-3 year window. You got to get it done. So he knows it. So this draft is important. You got to pick pieces that's going to hold you down for the future. That's going to hold you down right now. And that can get back the reign of freaking winning the division. I'm sick and tired of seeing all this division title that had to go to the New England Patriots. I didn't want to see that. That made me sick. I was sick to my gut when I had to see that nonsense happen. So time's up, bro. You got to get that shit done now. Pressure's on, and I know you know it because the way you're talking a little tighter. You mean your words are a little tighter. You're a little more direct, and I like that. So if there's pressure on my man Beane, he's gonna be putting pressure on everybody else to perform and do what needs to be done. Simple as that. Ain't no other conversation to have. These guys got to get it done, big time. So that being said, we got to get into one last topic, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. This whole Rossini-Vrabel conversation, since the Patriots conversation came up. What are your thoughts with this Rossini, Deanna Rossini, and Vrabel scenario? At first, I was like, bro, it's messy. It's not a great look for either one of them, especially because they're both in committed relationships, and it's just not a good look. So then I decided to play with fire a little bit, and I sent my wife the pictures of Vrabel and Deanna Rossini holding hands and canoodling by the pool. I've always wanted to use the word canoodling by the pool, right? And interlocking fingers and having the mountain in the back, all that jazz. You guys have all seen it. The drama, okay? So I decided to play with some fire. So I sent my wife those pictures, and I said, hey, babe, if you got a picture sent to you with me holding hands with somebody, and I'm all laying in a pool, having a good time, shirt off, in the sun, baking, having a good time, what do you do? What's your initial reaction? And I sent it and closed my eyes. I was like, oh shit, I don't know what I just did, but I got to figure out, right? You got to have that type of relationship with your girl to do that. And her thing was like, I would literally send that picture right to you. If somebody sent it to me, I'd send it to you and wait for your reply. I was actually shocked at the reply because I thought, nah, there ain't no way. That's too nice. That's way too nice and calm, right? And she was like, oh, by the way, and I'd be asking, where do you want to be? Do you want to be cremated or did you want a burial? Because I'd be killing you. I was like, bet. That's the answer I was looking for. So there's no way around trying to massage that photo. Whether someone did it maliciously to expose, whatever the case is, it's not a great look. And right now you're seeing a lot of scrutiny being thrown Deanna Rossini's way. Is that her name, Deanna? Deanna Rossini's way. But not a whole lot is going Vrabel's way. And normally they usually kill the dude and give grace to the lady. But they have all the smoke for Deanna Rossini to the point where she had to resign from her work and she's going to focus on herself, the whole thing. But even then, people aren't letting that go. No, you don't get a chance to resign and take no accountability. You got to, because my wife was asking me, bro, so, I mean, yeah, it's not a good look, but like what's everybody outraged for? And I was like, well, she's a reporter. He's a head coach. She can make things and sway things, and he can give her information and makes it look like she broke things, and she's only breaking things because they're in a relationship. There's a lot of people that do the job that she does can't get information like that because they, they allegedly, getting together like that. So it's a bad look altogether. Could you imagine her making up some stuff? Maybe she did, maybe she not. Making some stuff about A.J. Brown, making his stock look terrible, where the Eagles are like, you know what, bro, I'm sick and tired of yo ish. I'm trading you. Yo, who's the highest bidder? Here comes New England. I'll give you a second. Ain't nobody trying to, mess with that. I'll give you a second. Bro, so those are the things that can happen. So whether true or not true is to be determined. But right now, it's nastiness right now. There's a lot of nasty going things. I've never seen so much men involved trying to get involved in this thing. Men are gossiping about all this stuff. It's crazy to me, but it's a nasty look altogether. So in this case, is it right for Rossini to have vacated her position and quit or resign? So if she resigned, should Vrabel be in the position to say, bro, I made the organization look bad, so I'm out of here? I highly doubt it happens. However, if you're a stand-up dude, yo, take it on the chin and say, hey, man, I'm out of here. Because, I mean, you had a lot to say about Travion Henderson. Is it Henderson? Right? The running back for the New England Patriots. He's sharing his faith, and he's like, he's got to be responsible with what he says, and you got to be inclusive. Bro, speak for yourself, my G. Speak for yourself. You trying to tell me I got to responsible. Bro, you be responsible. You're the head coach. You're supposed to be the example, and you out here doing what you got to do. Now, this is all alleged. Nobody knows what's facts and what's not. But the point is, in the eyes of the public, it's a nasty look. So how this all plays out, we're going to find out. But there's a big double standard happening right now. The scrutiny is going to Rossini. Rossini lost her job, whether they forced her to resign or she quit on her own. Who knows what that's all about. So what's going to happen with Vrabel? I mean, shoot, if Vrabel got to leave, shoot, I ain't losing no sleep. But is it going to happen? That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So that's my time, folks. I just wanted to come on here and chop it up with y'all and kind of give you the update on what's taking place with our guy, Brandon Beane, and what he's truly believing about this defense, what he truly believes about this coaching staff, and his belief in Keon Coleman. And his belief in Keon Coleman just makes me double down on saying, yo, the Bills ain't taking a receiver. They have the utmost respect and confidence in Keon, so they're gonna make it work. I believe it. They're gonna try to make it work. And if he comes out and has a massive year, it's a win for this team, and it's a win for Brandon Beane saying, I believe in this guy. Also, a somewhat of a win for Coach McDermott that's no longer on the squad, saying, I wanted this guy this whole time. And McDermott not coming out and having a tell-all is stand-up guy that he is. So looking forward to seeing how this all shakes out. So the draft is coming along. Now, I told you guys there is an interview happening tomorrow, and you're probably wondering, who are we interviewing? None other than Jack Stonehouse, the punter. We are going to be having Syracuse punter Jack Stonehouse on with myself and Bot. Honestly, you guys are sitting here going, what, a punter? Heck yeah, a punter. Wisniewski is our punter now, but we got to think about the depth. We got to think about what is taking place. So tune in tomorrow. It's going to be, we're going to give you the information. I think it's going to be around 8 p.m. Eastern. So tune in for that. We're going to get into some draft talk with him, what the team is looking for, what they asked him. All those things will be tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Be there, be square. We're going to be talking to our guy, Jack Stonehouse. Could he be the next Buffalo Bills punter? Could he be a guy that we draft late in the 7th round, right? Could he be that last pick that the Bills make? That is who we will be talking to tomorrow. Hopefully we got a couple, maybe one more interview lined up with one of the players before draft starts, maybe 2. That's what we're going to be doing. So keep your ears open, keep your ears locked. That's who we're going to be interviewing tomorrow. Jack Stonehouse, punter, Syracuse, coming live tomorrow with the Buffalo Fanatics with myself and Z-Bot. We're going to have fun with this one. And if you guys have questions for him, y'all know where to reach us. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, myself personally, Z-Bot. If there's something that you guys would like to ask, go ahead and tune in and let us know what you want to know from this player coming through. So tell me, this is something that is pretty cool. Let me know. Hit that like, smash that like for your boy, and we will be live tomorrow. So don't forget, tune in, and it's gonna be a fun one. I almost want to. He's a brick, boom boom house. Now it's gonna be a stone house. So we can get rid of Mr. Brightside and hopefully bring in Brick House. We can play that in an intercom in the new stadium. So we'll see how that all plays out. But it's gonna be a cool night. So smash that like before you guys get out of here. If you guys have not subscribed, you know the deal. Subscribe to the channel. All that good stuff. It's gonna be a fun time. So tune in tomorrow. It's gonna be happening. Stonehouse, Buffalo Fanatics, Rico, Bot. It's gonna be a good time. So until next time, enjoy the rest of your evening. It's your boy Rico, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side tomorrow night. Be there, be square. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.